Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Stephen Quinn.
And I'm Amy Bell, and we are your co-hosts for today. It is a really special day today. It is CBC's Make the Season Kind, previously known as Food Bank Day.
And this is a live broadcast coming to you from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And you're joining us today from all over the place, all over the province, near and far. We acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. All day, we are going to be speaking to guests and be talking about kindness.
Yes, we are. And making the season kind, we have such an exciting lineup for you today, so we hope you stay tuned. And here's Karis Hogg with some traffic.
Thank you, Amy. There are no problems in Metro Vancouver reported right now. Of course, just a reminder that with the Taylor Swift concerts, roads will be impacted around BC Place for today until Sunday, and those closures will last from noon until 12 a.m. all 3 days. Beatty will be shut down from Robson to Smythe. Robson will be closed from Beatty to Cambie, and Pacific Boulevard will also be affected right around BC Place. And also a reminder that the Cambie Street Bridge is one lane in either direction if you're thinking about using that either in or out of downtown. You can always text us if you see a problem anywhere in the province, 236-330-2623 at the BC Ferries to Wasson-Swartz Bay. If you don't have a vehicle reservation, your next available sailing is 7 a.m. and Swartz Bay to Wasson, your next available sailing is 7 a.m. Weather for the North Coast, rain ending near noon, then cloudy with a high of 9. And for Metro Vancouver today, a mainly cloudy day, a slight chance of showers this afternoon. Also, we've got some fog out there again this morning, but that should dissipate at some point before noon and a high of 9 degrees. And back to you in Studio 700.
Is all about your support of Food Banks BC. It is our annual holiday campaign, and this year there is a new name. It's called Make the Season Kind.
And you can donate now at our website. I'm going to throw a bunch of numbers at you. First, some letters, cbc.ca/kindbc, cbc.ca/kindbc. To donate by phone, you can call us 604-662-6470, 604-662-6470. And toll free 1-866-226-4642, 1-866-226-4642. There is one more way to donate, and that's you can text the word kind, K-I-N-D, to 20222, 20222. Right now, those are our numbers, and right now we are looking at the total here. This is how we're starting things off because we've had a lot of people donate in advance. We've been putting that number out or that website out, and we have this morning.
Yes, so we are sitting at $117,000. That is amazing.
Just a fantastic way to start off the day. Let's keep it coming. Ann Penman mentioned that last year we did, in the end, almost $2.5 million.
I feel like beating that.
I feel like beating that too.
That's what I feel like today.
All right.
All right. And there are so many ways that you can actually tune in today as well. And that includes CBC Radio 1, CBC Gem, CBC News BC, and the CBC BC YouTube page. Of course, we're also on the radio, 88.1 FM and 690 AM. Okay, so first up, we have an incredible live band with us today for you. Ayla Mabe is with us alongside her band, and their first song is going to be Lovely Day.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something with a warning, love, weighs heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright. with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seemed impossible to face, when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you and the world's all wrapped with me. I just wanna look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day. Yeah. A lovely day.
Round of applause. That is our amazing house band led by Ayla Tesler Mabe, folks. And despite what Stephen and I would prefer, we don't usually have a live band playing for
We
our
would like one
whole
every
show.
day. Yes.
But today is a very special day here at CBC Vancouver, and that's because it is the season. It's Make the Season Kind, CBC's annual food banks fundraiser. Thank you for joining us today, Ayla. Why don't you introduce us to your band?
Oh, I would love to. Well, my name is Ayla Tesler, but more importantly, I'm joined here. We got the amazing Alvin Brendan on the guitar. We have the amazing Jamil Chain Haddad on the bass. We have Miles Philpott on the drums. And we have the amazing Yato on percussion. It's an honor playing these guys. They are not only some of the best musicians I know, but some of the most lovely, kind people I know.
Oh, that serves the bill. You know, of course, as we always say, these are not rock star hours at all. You're joining us very bright and early, but maybe tell us about why you wanted to join us today.
I mean, it was a no-brainer. Obviously, CBC is an iconic, very important. Oh, a better microphone that doesn't have reverb. Perfect. I mean, yeah, CBC, what a staple of any young Canadian person's life and any Canadian person of any age. But obviously, the cause itself is beautiful. Food Banks BC. It's so important, especially this time of the year. And I mean, what an amazing event with music and just people sharing and sharing stories and all that great stuff.
Yes, such a fantastic day.
Thank
And
you for
we
being
just
here.
couldn't be happier to have you with us. That was Ayla Tesler Mabe along with her amazing band. Another round of applause for them.
Now, a big part of this every year is, of course, our phone room. We've got volunteers in our phone room. I just ran into one of the volunteers here, and it's somebody who is married to somebody who used to work here at CBC a long time ago, but she's been coming back to the phone room over and over again for years, even though that person no longer works here and has moved on. But it was great to see her. And our volunteers are taking your calls. One of the people in the phone room is Nick Johnson, and he's with me now. He's a member and services manager at Food Banks BC. Good morning to you, Nick.
Good morning, Stephen.
Thank you for being here. First off, have you been down to the phone room?
I was over at the phone room. Yeah, it's lively. It's happening. Yeah.
And tell me what it looks like in there. Just describe it to people because they want to see an image of the phone room. Does it look like a NATO headquarters or something?
It kind of feels like that a little bit. It's a square table, phones all around, people all looking at each other randomly and frantically, writing numbers down. And if there's a mess up, just slide the paper into the middle. It'll get shredded later. So it's ringing. It's loud.
Okay. And you're not scamming people or anything while you're...
Stay
Not
ready.
in the least.
You travel all over the province for Food Banks BC, and I think about 110 member food banks. That's a lot. It's been growing year after year. What do you see as a difference between what we see in urban areas versus what you see in rural areas?
Yeah, I do get the chance to travel around the province quite a bit, and there is, some distinctions for sure. Some common threads that food banks, urban and rural, kind of face and how they operate. But generally speaking, smaller populations mean less donors to kind of fill the coffers and keep food banks alive in those rural settings. And that also includes grocery stores. So typically fewer grocery stores, mom and pop grocery stores. Food recovery is a staple for many food banks. And so if you're not able to recover as much food, you're typically going and buying more food. But in those rural areas, costs are also up. Yeah. So with numbers going up, not able to recover as much food, or suppliers aren't close by, you're typically paying a bit more to get food into the food bank. Storage is also an issue, but I guess that's kind of anywhere, but smaller infrastructure in smaller towns.
And so what are folks doing? I mean, given some of those challenges, I guess people have to get creative.
Got to get creative for sure. For example, in the Columbia Shuswap region, actually here, just recently they hired a coordinator. So instead of each rural food bank kind of making it by themselves, they're actually coordinating a lot of their purchasing so they can buy in bulk. Because when you can buy in bulk, typically that lowers the cost. And it's just making things more efficient, more effective, this coordinator. So it's finding insulated sea cans for extra storage. It's, for many food banks, they're starting not only kind of, their free food bank programming, but on the side, some cost recovery programming to help kind of keep costs a little bit more manageable. So someone might come in, receive their, free support, but if they would like to buy maybe a reduced prepared meal kit, there's a few food banks out there doing that kind of thing. And it's great.
This has come a long way from, the days of people dropping off cans of soup and boxes of cereal.
Absolutely.
It's turned into a real enterprise now.
It really has, yeah. The Greater Vancouver Food Bank, for example, I think they've got roughly 70% of their hamper they proudly proclaim is perishable, goods, and so it's becoming less and less of that canned good donation.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it, Nick, and good luck down there.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Nick Johnson, and right now we are taking your calls in the CBC Food Bank phone room. The number is 604-662-6470, 604-662-6470. Province-wide toll-free, because we are province-wide this morning, 1-866-226-4642. That's 1-866-226-4642. We are at 23 minutes after 6 o'clock, and Karis is back with traffic.
Taking a look at the roads around the province, just a heads up that north of Revelstoke on Highway 1, there's construction work planned about 1 kilometer west of the west boundary of Glacier National Park, and that's starting at 8 a.m. and lasting until noon, so just be prepared that the road will be closed intermittently. Here in Metro Vancouver, no crashes or stalls reported. However, in Surrey, King George Boulevard, westbound for the Patello Bridge is back to Bridgeview Drive, and things are starting to get a little bit plugged up for the Alex Fraser Bridge northbound on Highway 91 in Delta. If you see anything out there anywhere in the province, feel free to text us 236-330-2623. And I just got a text here from Lenny in Richmond on the text line. Good morning, Early Ed. Every year I look forward to an amazing day CBC puts together for such a great cause. So many talented and kind people. All the best success with Make the Season Kind, helping food banks throughout BC. Back to you in Studio 700.
Thank you very much,
You in
Karis.
Studio
Well,
7.
today is the 38th annual CBC British Columbia Food Bank Day and Make the Season Kind. And we are encouraging those of you who are able to donate to the food bank of your choice. And one of BC's biggest food banks is right here in Vancouver. And joining us now on stage, David Long, the CEO of the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Thanks for being here. Another extremely challenging year for this province. What kind of need are you seeing in Vancouver right now?
Well, the need has certainly gone up. I've been with the food bank 6 years, and it's tripled in those 6 years. And just there's a lot of need, a lot of working people. A lot of people are having a tough time just making ends meet. But we're very fortunate. The public are amazingly generous. You guys do an amazing job every year for us. 38 years is awesome. Thank you so much. And we're lucky we can keep up with demand.
Well, I'm very glad to have been a part of it for some of that time. A lot of the credit goes to all of the people who put it together, and Ann Penman, of course, one of our producers, who is, I know, she is just amazing.
Yeah, she is.
Tell me about, though, we see, we've had a number of sort of big events, weather events, environmental catastrophes, essentially. We've seen floods, we've seen fires, we've seen people have to abandon their houses. How does that play into what you folks have to do?
Well, we're lucky we can we actually helped support when the floods happened. One of the major road contractors, actually, we got a phone call and we actually had some helicopters we could use. We actually helicoptered some food up to different locations that were cut off, which was amazing. And then in fire season, we sent. We have amazing connections with different organizations, and we actually shipped last year. We shipped a 53-foot shipping container full of food up to the Okanagan. Just to help them out with some of the stuff that was going on. So,
and lots of talk about how families are having a hard time making ends meet. The cost of food has gone up substantially. What is that doing to what you are able to do to help people out?
Well, certainly it's gone up. I mean, we spend, the Greater Vancouver Food Bank, we spend about $6 million a year purchasing food on top of the donations that we get. Last year, we distributed just over 9 million pounds of food left our warehouse to go out and help people. But the price of food is ridiculous, and it's sort of a catch-22 situation because the public aren't buying as much food, so there's actually some more that actually gets donated to the food banks to give out to people as well. So,
and we hear so much about food waste as well. I mean, so much of what goes into supermarkets goes out unused. My team's gonna. Sorry, I'm laughing, but my team's gonna laugh. My staff, because I always say the same thing. There is no shortage of food. There's a distribution problem. We really need to look at distribution around the province. Food Banks BC is doing an awesome job looking at that, and we're starting to look at doing things like that as well because there's a huge amount of food out there. David, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much, and good luck today.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. That is David Long, the CEO of the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. Once again, you can make a donation at our online donation site, cbc.ca/kindbc. There's a drop-down menu there, and you can direct your donation to any of the 110 food banks anywhere in the province so that money stays in your community. As well, if you want to donate by phone, 604-662-6470, 604-662-6470, toll-free 1-866-226-4642.
And
Amy.
if you're just tuning in, it's BC's Make the Season Kind. We are, of course, raising money for Food Banks BC, and this year is the 38th year. So far, we are at $136,000 already. Amazing. That's incredible. We're just going to take a quick break for traffic and weather with Karis.
Taking a look at the roads here, no crashes, no stalls in Metro Vancouver. King George Boulevard heading over the Patello Bridge if you're heading westbound. It is backed up to Bridgeview Drive. And Highway 91 northbound for the Alex Fraser is slow between 64th and 72nd. And also, just a reminder that Taylor Swift is in town. And so BC Place is going to be totally chaotic. So keep that in mind if you're heading down to the show. You can always text us 236-330-2623 if you see anything. For the Peace region, weather today, a mix of sun and cloud, high of 6 degrees. For Metro Vancouver today, mainly cloudy, slight chance of showers this afternoon and some fog patches dissipating this morning, a high of 9. Tomorrow we're looking at a heavy rain day, 15 to 25 millimeters for Metro Vancouver, temperature steady near 10. And Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 9 degrees. I'll be back after the news with another look at traffic and weather. Back to you in Studio 700.
Karis, thank you so much. And it is time for the CBC Local News with Tarnjeet Parmar.
Good morning. In Kelowna, it is cloudy and 0. It is raining and 8 degrees in Prince Rupert, and it's cloudy and 5 degrees in Vancouver. I'm Tarnjeet Parmar. It is the day that many Swifties in BC have been waiting for. Thousands of fans will head to BC Place tonight to see Taylor Swift kick off the first of her last 3 shows in the Eras Tour. Eloise is traveling from New York. She has already been to 14 Eras shows and will be going to all 3 shows in Vancouver this weekend.
Excited to celebrate with everyone, sad that it's over, but looking back at all the shows we've gone to and friends we've met and just wonderful people throughout the world that we've met.
Fans are being reminded to stay away from BC Place unless they have tickets to the shows. 700 Vancouver police officers will also be deployed and will work to control the crowds. Premier David Eby has responded to the latest violent attack in downtown Vancouver, which has put renewed attention on bail reform and involuntary care for people with mental health and addictions issues. The attack Wednesday morning at a 7-Eleven near Robson and Hamilton left 2 people injured, and the attacker shot dead by police.
It's a horrible attack. It's really corrosive to people's sense of safety and communities, and not just in downtown Vancouver, but in other downtown cores. And, you can point to statistics and say, well, it's 50% fewer than it used to be. VPD has been doing a good job driving those numbers down. But man, one is devastating to people, and certainly for these young women who were attacked.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim criticized the province for being too slow to roll out its program to use involuntary care. Meantime, Eby says secure care beds at Alouette Correctional Centre and Surrey Pretrial Centre will be running in the spring. The federal government has announced new restrictions aimed at reducing gun violence. They are banning hundreds of makes and models of assault-style weapons. But here in British Columbia, some gun owners say that the new laws are unfair. Isaac Panay reports.
Firearms owners who follow the laws and are not a threat to public safety.
BC Wildlife Federation Executive Director Jesse Zeman says the regulations aren't fair to law-abiding gun owners, and he doesn't think they will stop gun violence. Zeman is instead calling for the government to prevent illegal guns from crossing the border. Federal Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc is adding 324 more gun makes and models to Canada's list of banned weapons. He says owners will have until October 30th next year to sell these guns to the government.
They'd like us to sell yoga mats and Lululemon. That's exactly what they want my gun store to turn into.
Tim Schramm is president and the owner of Coeur Lane Sporting Goods. He says the new restrictions are unjustified and will hurt his business.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and they are coming at us with a lot of little cuts right now.
The federal government says it is investing in border security and implementing laws that make it easier to revoke licenses and take firearms away from people who break gun laws. Isaac Panay, CBC News, Vancouver.
A new report released by experts at 4 Canadian universities is predicting more pressure on grocery costs next year. And that means British Columbians will likely pay more for meat, vegetables, and when dining out. Janella Hamilton has more.
A family of 4 could be paying up to $800 more at the cash register next year if food inflation hits the highest point. That's according to Canada's Food Price Report for 2025. UBC professor Rick Barrichello is one of the authors of the report. He says grocery prices are expected to rise between 3% and 5%, with staples like meat and vegetables seeing the biggest price jumps.
Climate change circumstances like droughts and all is going to affect the supplies available. And in addition, we've got all these geopolitical issues going on, whether it's the war in Ukraine or whether it's Trump proposing at least to put on high tariffs.
The report comes as food banks continue to see an uptick in demand. BC Food Bank says they're seeing more than 225,000 monthly visits, up 15% over 2023. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
And the BC Rent Bank's latest report is showing some hope for renters. They provide interest-free loans for low to moderate income renters. The Housing Ministry says this report is a positive sign for renters in BC, with lower prices recorded and more rental homes under construction. Melissa Giles is the managing director of the Rent Bank and says they have supported more than 2,500 renters in British Columbia so far this year. It is just about 6:35, and that is the CBC News.
Thank you very much, Tarnjeet. Tarnjeet Parmar in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. And yes, Tarnjeet doesn't normally get applause for one of her newscasts.
But I think she should.
But she should, shouldn't she? Absolutely. What you are hearing is, of course, our live audience in Studio 700, because today is Make the Season Kind, our annual CBC Food Bank fundraiser. I'm Stephen Quinn, along with Amy Bell.
And we are co-hosting the early edition today, and it is a very special show. It is CBC's Make the Season Kind, and we're raising money for Food Banks BC. So far, our number, Stephen?
Our number so far, we have just taken a jump. We are at $141,000. $141,000. And I'll tell you about all the ways to donate in just a moment.
Yes, and coming up in this next half hour, lots of commotion around downtown Vancouver today as we expect droves of Taylor Swift fans in town. Not all of them could be going to the concert, but they could see a Taylor Swift impersonator instead. We will speak to her in just a minute. But first, our own Taylor Swift impersonator, Karis Hogg, with traffic and weather.
And because of the Taylor Swift shows at BC Place today, tomorrow, and Sunday, roads will be impacted around the stadium. So just be aware of that. Road closures are in place starting today at noon and lasting until 12 a.m. all 3 days. Beatty will be shut down from Robson to Smythe. Robson will be shut down from Beatty to Cambie, and Pacific Boulevard will also be affected. You can text us if you see a problem out there on the road. No stalls or crashes are reported right now. 236-330-2623. Taking a look at the BC ferries, if you're coming across on a boat for the show, Swartz Bay Tsawwassen, your next available sailing without a vehicle reservation is 9 a.m. And if you're heading to the mainland to Victoria area, Tsawwassen, Swartz Bay, your next available sailing is 7 a.m. And taking a look at the weather for the central interior, rain for most of the day today, a high of 2 degrees. And for Metro Vancouver, weather today, mainly cloudy, a slight chance of showers this afternoon, and some fog patches dissipating this morning as well, a high of 9. Back to you in Studio 700.
Thank you very much, Karis. And now this is all about raising funds for the local food banks across BC. That's what today is all about. Our donation site, where you can make a donation online, cbc.ca/kindbc. That's cbc.ca/kindbc. If you'd like to donate by phone, we have volunteers standing by in the phone room. 604-662-6470 is the number to call. That's 604-662-6470. The toll-free line, because we are province-wide today, 1-866-226-4642. 1-866-226-4642. And if you'd like to make your donation on your cell phone, you can just text the word KIND to 20222 2022. 20222. That sounded like way too many twos. Ayla, help us out here. Our band leader. Can I call you the band leader?
I like that.
Okay, I like that. Really, that's
She's
great.
the spokesperson.
Ayla Tesler-Mabé is with us this morning. What are you going to play for us next?
I'm going to play one of my songs called Natural Tendency off of the EP I put out last year, my very first EP as a solo artist. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Watching myself fade to gray. Should I speak when I don't mean the things I say? Freedom from who I'm told to be. Ideal simplicity. Some dreams I've had ain't meant to be. tendency. Hide myself from me. Try to feel again. Breathe like who I am. Natural tendency. Natural tendency. Not who I'm supposed to be. Try to feel again. Breathe like who I am. Natural tendency. Not supposed to be. Try to feel again. Can't run from who I am.
Yes. Ayla Tesler-Mave and her fabulous band.
Yes, and we have a great guest for you now. Serafina Ellen is obviously a Taylor Swift impersonator. She is from Calgary. She's here tonight, of course, for this event, but also she's going to the Taylor Swift concert, and she joins us bright and early. So how did you get into impersonating Taylor Swift?
It's actually kind of a sad story.
Oh.
You know, ends with a happy ending. 8 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer, and she was only expected to live another year. And in that time, she decided, I'm going to go out, I'm going to try as many things, even if I'm bad at them. I'm just going to do everything that I want to do and try my best. And she ended up living for another 8 years.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I think that's owed to her living life and living each second of it. So when she passed away, I decided that I'm going to do something that I'm scared of doing. I'm going to try singing and I'm going to try performing. And I've got the haircut, so why not be Taylor?
And I'm so sorry for your loss, but what an incredible legacy to carry on with your mother's spirit. So how do you get into the mindset for each performance?
I try and treat each show like I am a professional, like I am Taylor Swift. This isn't just a hobby. This is my career. I am a multi-billionaire, and I'm going to treat every single thing like that and go at it with 120%.
All right, let's see you give 120%. You're going to perform for us now.
I am.
Excellent.
Sing along if you know this one, guys.
Serafina Ellen, ladies and gentlemen.
I stay early. Got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates, but I can't make them stay. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising. Can't stop, won't stop grooving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. Cause the player's gonna play, 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 play. Haters gonna hate, 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 hate. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break, 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 break. And the faker's gonna fake, 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 fake. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it off, shake it off.
Oh, thank you so much, Serafina. That was Serafina Ellen. I mean, if you're not going to the concert, I think you just saw the best in the country. She is, of course, a singer and Taylor Swift impersonator, and she is performing tonight at the Red Room. You can make a donation at our online donation site, cbc.ca/kind/BC. There's a drop-down menu on the site, so you can choose to direct your donation to any of the food banks that are members of Food Banks BC, and you'll get a tax receipt within minutes to your email address. That's cbc.ca/kindbc. If you want to donate by phone, call us now, 604-662-6470, or toll free 1-866-226-4642. Once again, 604-662-6470, or toll free across the province, 1-866-226-4642, or just text, simply text KIND 20222. We're going to look at traffic now with Karis Hogg. We're going to look at traffic now with Karis.
No crashes, no stalls reported, but you can text us if you see anything, 236-330-2623. And on the text line, Linda from Surrey says, shout out to South Surrey. I was at the Superstore on Sunday and the food bank bin was overflowing. Back to you in Studio 700.
So much, Karis, and we're lucky to have artist Ayla Tesler-Mabe with us today alongside her amazing live band. The next song is an original song by Ayla. It's called Eventually.
Loving you, there's nothing I wouldn't do to make you mine. I'll wait forever, a million days and nights just to be with you. I need a little bit of sympathy for my time. Promise me that you'll give yourself to me. Eventually, steal away just to look at your smile. I don't know your name, but I sure like your style. One day, I know you will see that we'll be together eventually. You are that's on my mind. I see you every time I close my eyes. Undoubtedly, like the river flows to the sea, I'm meant to be with you. Steal away just to look at your smile. I don't know your name, but I sure like your style. One day, I know you will see that we'll be together eventually. And I know that you won't be happy without me. I can't help it, but I'm not sorry. And I know that you won't be happy without me. I can't help it, but I'm not sorry.
Ayla Tesler-Mabe with her amazing band. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Amy. It's 10 minutes before 7 o'clock, and you're listening to the early edition on CBC Radio 1. Province-wide this morning with our very special Make the Season Kind food bank fundraiser. Kindness comes in all kinds of ways. That includes all kinds of words as well. The words you use to describe the language, or the language you use to describe kindness. I can get this out. Helen Zaltzman knows all about words and how I misuse them. Also knows about their origins and unique ways we use them. She's got a popular award-winning podcast called The Illusionist, and that's with an A. And we're lucky enough for her to join us up on stage today. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with us. How long have you been doing this podcast for 10 years now?
Yes, that sounds very sad, doesn't it?
It does not sound at
Incredible,
all. It
actually.
sounds to me like a vital public service.
Oh, okay, yes, it's definitely that. Thank you, you're welcome.
When it comes to the word kindness, first of all, can I ask about the origins of the word? Because this is what you do.
Yes, it's a really ancient word, but the way that we use it has only been around, I say only, it's been around since the 1300s. But before that, it meant the same as kin, so it meant family. And I think we got this sense from it that you treat other people like your family. Now, not all families are kind to each other in the modern sense, so that's where the etymology gets complicated.
So kin and kind, it comes from the way we, I guess, are supposed to treat family members.
Yes, if they deserve it. It's not guaranteed.
Here.
As I said, you have been doing this a while. Has there been a word when you look deep into the etymology of it that just blew your mind?
Oh, all the time. But one that really stuck out was mediocre, which means halfway up a jagged hill. And I thought, to get up or down half a jagged hill is really quite an achievement.
That's wonderful. And what has it, looking into all of those words over all of those years, what has it done to you? Has it helped you with your understanding of things?
In a way, and yet it's made things more confusing than ever, because the more you know about language, the less you know, and what you thought was solid ground is just a rug over a huge sinkhole.
Wow.
Sorry.
She's got away with words.
You got away with words. But that doesn't mean mediocre, does it?
No, I mean, I already told you. I've forgotten already, but it is early, so I forgive you.
It is. Helen, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We really appreciate it. And continue on. We need you badly. Appreciate it. That's Helen Zaltzman, who runs the podcast, The Illusionist, with an A, celebrating the 10th anniversary of her podcast soon. That will be on the 12th of January. And there you go. Amy, over to you.
Yes, and of course, our next guest is absolutely no stranger to our annual event. As is tradition, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage, I'm doing a dramatic pause, the founder and artistic director of Bard on the Beach, Christopher Gaze. Good morning.
Christopher Gaze.
Good morning, everybody.
So you always grace us with a seasonal performance. What exactly do you have up your sleeve for this year?
Oh, well, I've got it right here, and it's freshly minted. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through Vancouver there was nothing moving, not even an Uber. All stockings were hung by the TV with flair, but children played on apps in their rooms without care, sneaking smartphones and laptops right into their beds, while photos on Instagram danced in their heads. When out on the street there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but an electric sleigh, without any reindeer. Self-driving, said the driver, so lively and quick. I knew from his TikToks it must be St. Nick. I don't strew CO2, he said, on glaciers and meadows, so my polar bear friends can hold on to their ice flows. He had a snow-white goatee and a six-pack for his belly. I just couldn't go on like a bowl full of jelly. Now I eat fruits and veggies, I meditate and do yoga. No more eating chips while I sit on the sofa. And after our chit-chat, he went straight to work. He filled all the stockings with candies and merch, then laying his finger aside of his nose, Santa told me, goodness knows, 2024 has been filled with many moments of great cheer. But we miss those we loved who are no longer here. My Santa workshop is now work from home. I call elves for IT help and they ask, Safari or Chrome? I tell them of toys and they say, you're on mute. I've got grey sweatpants underneath this red suit. Family and friends are gathered this season. We love their warm smiles. It's marvelous to see them. The year has been eventful, and still at each turn, people have become heroes and helped us to learn that across this great land, we're all essential workers and give each other a hand. So thanks to doctors, to nurses, and all that they do, farmers and pharmacists, bus drivers too, thanks to medtechs and scientists in their laboratories, and to all those who plant trees and keep us reforested. The atmospheric rivers have not done us in, and the farmer's almanac says that big snows will begin. Santa sprang to his sleigh, to the sky gave a whistle, and his autonomous vehicle took off like a missile. But I heard him exclaim as he zipped out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all Swifties, a good night."
Oh my gosh. You have outdone yourself this year.
Once
Thank you so
again.
much.
Oh, amazing. One more time, give it up for the artistic director of Bard on the Beach, Christopher Gaze. And of course, you can make a donation at our online donation site, cbc.ca/kindbc. There's a drop-down menu on the site, so you can choose to direct your donation to any of the food banks that are members of Food Banks BC. You get a tax receipt within minutes to your email address. That's cbc.ca/kindbc. And if you want to donate by phone, we've got lots of people standing by to take your call. 604-662-6470, 1-866-226-4642. You can also text it. How high-tech? Kind. To 20222. So there you go.
I'm still getting over Christopher Gay's rhyming laboratories with reforested.
If anybody could do it, it is Christopher Gaze. Always a highlight of every year.
Karis Hogg is standing by with the latest on the roads.
It looks like there's a problem on, just before the Patello Bridge in Surrey. King George Boulevard westbound backed up from before Bridgeview Drive, and also feeder routes for the Patello Bridge on the Surrey side also backing up. And other than that, it looks like the West Coast Express trip leaving Mission City Station westbound at 5:55 a.m. delayed by 8 minutes, departing Port Coquitlam Station due to a switch issue at the Pitt River Bridge. If you see a problem out there anywhere in the province at all, you can always text us 236-330-2623. And weather for the Boundary and Kootenay regions, a mix of sun and cloud this morning, cloudy this afternoon, a high of -1. And for Metro Vancouver today, a mainly cloudy day, slight chance of showers this afternoon, and some fog patches dissipating this morning, a high of 9. Back to you in Studio 700.
Thank you so much, Karis Hogg with traffic and weather. And everybody has been so generous already this morning, and it's not even, well, it's almost 7 a.m. $159,000. That's incredible.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
$159,000. I'm waiting for the person who adds like 11 cents or 14 cents or something to it, because that means we can't do round numbers anymore.
Maybe everybody's choosing to round up.
Well, that's what happened last year,
It's
and it was
true.
really fun to watch over the course
Considering
of the
how
day.
terrible we are with numbers, I appreciate it. But let's just get those numbers going higher and higher. We can certainly donate today, and throughout the day, we have so many ways for you to do that.
And you can do that by calling 604-662-6470, 604-662-6470. Volunteers are standing by in our phone room to take your call. Province-wide, 1-866-226-4642, 866-226-4642. You can simply text the word KIND to 20222, and you can donate online, cbc.ca/kind.
Yes, and it's a phrase on everyone's lips this year. Is it cake? Is it not cake? We will hear from a finalist on the famous Netflix show that is coming up next. And if you're downtown, stop by. We'll be incorporating all of the Taylor Swift joy into our show outside the CBC. You'll find friendship bracelet making stations all day. The news is next.
This is World Report. Good morning, I'm Stephanie Skandaris. Statistics Canada has just released its latest jobs report. It shows Canada's unemployment rate jumped to 6.8% in November. That's up from 6.5% the month before. While the economy grew by more than 50,000 jobs, more people were looking for work. CBC's senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong explains what the numbers mean.
The unemployment rate tells the whole story here. Outside of COVID, this is the highest unemployment rate we've seen in nearly 8 years. If you go back to April of 2023, the rate is up 1.7 percentage points in that period alone. So these statistics simply wash out what would have otherwise been a pretty good set of gains. 51,000 jobs, mostly full-time, across a broad swath of categories. Total hours worked were up, wages climbed as well, though Wage gains are slowing, which is something experts wanted to see as inflation has cooled as well. But overall, this paints the picture of an economy that's struggling and one that probably needs a boost to get out of the ditch. The Bank of Canada was waiting for these numbers to decide what it will do about interest rates. It meets again next week. And the question going into that was whether the Bank of Canada would cut rates by 25 basis points or 50. A lot of people will be looking at that unemployment rate today with a sense of where the Bank of Canada will be focused next week. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner may be the next person called before Parliament's National Security Committee to testify about possible Indian interference in the last Conservative leadership race. Rempel-Garner was Patrick Brown's campaign chair for part of that race, and the committee heard from him yesterday. Janice McGregor is in our parliamentary bureau. Janice, despite saying he had no evidence to contribute, Patrick Brown had quite a bit to say yesterday, right?
Yeah, sure did, Stephanie. It was clear that Brown knew the Indian consulate was unhappy with what he was saying and doing in support of the Sikh community. Not only was he hearing about it indirectly, he was finding himself uninvited to a key event. And the Consul General phoned his campaign chair directly. But rather than tell these meddling diplomats to mind their own business, the pressure worked. Brown changed his language to no longer refer to a Sikh nation. And in this exchange with a Liberal MP, he acknowledged that some of his volunteers were under a lot of pressure.
I think the relationship with the Consul Generals is important for diaspora communities because of the ability to quickly access visas to visit your home country.
And so that importance would be an implied threat that if a Consul General is unhappy and upset, to support a candidate that has made the Indian government upset could in fact implicate or affect a visa application.
I think that's something that some members of the community would be concerned about.
Remember, this was happening in early 2022. After the 2021 election, the Conservative Party investigated and sounded the alarm about how Chinese diplomats were interfering, punishing their candidates for positions the Chinese Communist Party didn't appreciate. It's not clear why this behavior by India's diplomats didn't ring the same alarm bells when it was happening in the party's leadership race.
So where does this committee probe go next?
Well, they're now going to vote on a motion in front of them to hear from two members of Brown's campaign team who come from the Indian diaspora, as well as the campaign chair that took that angry phone call, Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner. She's insisted that this pressure isn't why she stepped down as chair. Earlier this week, though, she walked away from a CBC journalist trying to ask her questions. She's going to have to explain her side of the story if the committee compels it.
Okay, Janice McGregor in Ottawa, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Canada is opening consulates in Alaska and Greenland. It's part of the new Arctic policy framework unveiled this morning by Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly. She warns Russia has been modernizing its Arctic military capabilities.
Russia's military is more aggressive in its incursion into the Arctic. And now China has begun to launch joint operations with Russia. We're seeing more ships in the Arctic, and they're not only doing scientific research.
Ottawa announced more money for Arctic defense back in April. As part of the policy, Canada will appoint an Arctic ambassador, initiate Arctic security talks with foreign affairs ministers, and support science and research coordination in the Arctic. Just 2 days before voters were supposed to cast their ballots in a runoff election, Romania's top court has voted to annul the results of the first round of voting. The current prime minister says that's the only correct decision. A far-right outsider, Călin Georgescu, won the first round of voting by a landslide. Declassified documents suggest Russia ran a coordinated online campaign to promote him. In Syria, people cheer and fire their guns toward the sky as a statue of President Bashar al-Assad's father is toppled in Hama. Rebel forces took control of that city yesterday. Now they are pushing their way towards Homs. Video posted online shows an airstrike destroying a bridge on the main route to Homs. A Syrian army officer told Reuters Russia carried out the bombing to prevent the rebels from using the highway. Even so, Syria's war monitor says the rebels are just 5 kilometers away from Homs. South Korea's embattled President Yoon Suk-yeol has aborted a planned visit to Parliament. Lawmakers awaiting Yoon's arrival hold a protest inside the building, chanting, "Arrest the criminal." Reports had said Yoon was coming to apologize for his ill-fated attempt to impose martial law. That move plunged South Korea into political turmoil, and tomorrow there will be a vote on whether to impeach Yoon. Jan Cummins in Broomby has more from Seoul.
Speaking following a meeting of the ruling People Power Party, leader Han Dong-hoon made a dramatic U-turn on his position from the day before when he said he would oppose attempts to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol. But in light of new evidence, he now says Yoon must go. Han is also warning that if Yoon remains, there's a high risk a martial law order may be repeated. The development increases the chances Yoon will face an impeachment trial. Han's faction within the ruling party is made up of about 20 lawmakers, and that's enough to swing the impeachment bill against the president. Responding to the remarks, South Korea's newly appointed acting defense minister said talk of a second martial law is untrue, and in a media briefing said he would not obey any such declaration, even if it were repeated. Recent public opinion polling suggests Yoon's approval rating has dropped to just 16%, the lowest since he took office 2 years ago. The impeachment vote is scheduled for Saturday evening. Jan Cummins in Broomby for CBC News, Seoul.
Joe Biden is expected to issue more pardons before the end of his presidency next month, and there's speculation in Washington he may use that power to protect some of Donald Trump's critics. The president-elect has vowed to take revenge on his political opponents once he's back in the Oval Office, but Biden may try to shield them before that. Richard Madden is following the story in Washington. Richard, what are you hearing?
Yeah, the president's staff are reportedly debating whether to issue preemptive pardons to several current and former government officials who may be on Donald Trump's enemies list. Now, White House officials don't believe the recipients actually committed any crimes, but they're worried Trump may follow through on his vows to seek revenge against his critics. And some of the names being floated are Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's been a target by the far right for his advice during the COVID outbreak. Outgoing special counsel Jack Smith, who indicted Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election, and former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, who co-chaired the January 6 House Committee investigating Trump's role in the deadly Capitol attacks. South Carolina Democrat Jim Clyburn is among the voices supporting this unprecedented action.
I think that they all should be preemptively pardoned because I think there are people who Trump may bring into this government who will go after these people in a serious way, and there's no need to subject them to that.
Now, if President Biden follows through, it would be a first for a president to issue mass pardons of government officials to protect them from retribution by his successor.
And how would preemptive pardons even work?
Yeah, so this idea is reportedly for Biden to essentially clear them for theoretical crimes covering several years, which would blunt the incoming administration from going after them. Because as we've seen, federal investigations can drag on for months, if not years, costing people a fortune in legal fees and destroying their career prospects, even if no charges were found. Now, this plan is reportedly still at the staff level, and Biden himself has not made a final decision.
Okay, Richard Madden in Washington, thank you.
You bet.
And that is the latest national and international news from World Report. You can listen to us live every morning on the CBC News app. Just tap on the local icon. I'm Stephanie Skandaris. This is CBC News.
Well, good morning. I'm Stephen Quinn, and this is the early edition on CBC Radio 1, province-wide across British Columbia.
And good morning. I'm Amy Bell. Thank you for joining our special province-wide show today. We are doing it all in support of local food banks in this province. We have a live studio audience with us here in Studio 700 in Vancouver. We even have a band. It's all happening, and we're going to get some of our special guests too. In the next half hour, we've got some really exciting guests. That includes Chief Wayne Sparrow with the Musqueam Indian Band. We're also going to hear about how to make cake that looks like things that are not cake. But first, here is Kara Zog with your traffic and weather.
All right. Well, in Surrey, there is a problem on the Patello Bridge, a stalled car northbound at the south end in the left lane. Thank you, Nav, for texting in about that. Traffic is jammed on King George at the Scott Road merge, and King George Boulevard westbound is backed up from before Bridgeview Drive. From an unsigned texter in Richmond, there's a crash on Westminster Highway as soon as you get off the 99 heading eastbound, and that is in the right-hand lane. Thanks for the heads up on that. And just be aware that the Taylor Swift concert will impact roads around BC Place for today until Sunday. Each day there will be closures running from noon until 12 a.m. And also a reminder that the Cambie Street Bridge is one lane in either direction. So if you're using, maybe you should not use the Cambie Street Bridge as a way of in and out of downtown Vancouver over the next few days. You can always text us at 236-330-2623 if you see anything. And weather for Metro Vancouver today, mainly cloudy, a chance of showers this afternoon and a high of 9. And for the Okanagan and Southern Interior, a mix of sun and cloud this morning, cloudy this afternoon and a high of 1. Back to Studio 700.
Karis, thank you so much. Karis Hogg with our traffic and weather this morning. We are, of course, raising money for food banks right across British Columbia this morning. Right now, I can tell you, your generosity has added up so far to $164,000. $164,000.
Thank you.
That's amazing. We are going to continue building on this total all day long, and I'm still slightly disappointed to see that it's still round numbers. 164,000 Somebody do something about
Throw
that,
in
won't
a
you?
nickel. Come on.
Throw in a nickel just
Tag
for
on
fun.
a dime.
And we'll give you all of the ways to donate. One of the easiest ways to donate is to just head to our website, cbc.ca/kindbc. You can donate online there. Well, our live band this morning has been just amazing. Ayla Tesler-Mabe is with us, and here they are right now with a cover of A Little Help from My Friends.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song. And don't try not to sing out of key. What do I do when my love is away?
Tesla Mabe and her amazing band, and a little help from my friends.
So great. And we need a little help from all of you today to raise money for the food banks. Now, a Netflix show that has had a lot of buzz this year is called Is It Cake? So it is a game show where contestants bake cakes resembling real-life objects. And Surrey's own Jajar Man was one of the finalists in season 3. He is a pastry chef and owner of the Man and Company Bake Shop in Surrey, and he joins us today. Hello, Jajar. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me here today.
Now, last time you were on our show, you made a pizza that was made of cake, but it was so incredibly lifelike. How do you make them look so real?
That's a great question. You know, it's all about the small little details, the little nuances. You know, sometimes making something look not so perfect makes it look even more real.
Ah, I see. The perfections in the imperfections. You are also a practicing Sikh. So how does that, I guess, tie into kindness and being engaged in the community, which is what we are trying to do here today?
Yeah, kindness plays a great role in Sikhism. There's a concept called seva, which is a core principle. It's also known as selfless service. And in the Sikh community, we do a lot of seva, whether it's the form of langar, which is free food available in our community kitchens. And there's so many small gestures that are really, really important.
Oh, that sounds incredible. Now, did being on the show change anything for you? I would imagine it did, in terms of, though, being a pastry chef and you know, things that you learned on the show from the experience and maybe from your fellow contestants.
Oh, it changed my life. Something which not everyone knows yet. I was on the brand new season of Is It Cake, which actually came out last week. It was an all-star season. And last time I was a runner-up, but this time you got to see what happens.
Ah, leaving us in suspense. That's very exciting. And what a lot of people don't know is this entire stage was made of cake last night. So thank you for that. That was Jajar
Yum.
Man.
When I heard about Is It Cake, I didn't believe it was a real thing.
It's incredible. If you have not
I didn't believe
seen
it was a real show.
check it out because it is fantastic. And Jajar does amazing things. Jajar Man with Man and Company Bake Shop in Surrey.
Thank you so much.
We'll get another look at traffic now with Paris Hogg.
In Surrey, on the Patello Bridge, there's a stalled car northbound. It's at the south end in the left-hand lane, and this is causing traffic to be jammed up on Scott Road, heading towards King George Boulevard. King George Boulevard westbound is backed up from before Bridgeview Drive. Also, the West Coast Express trip leaving Mission City Station westbound at 6:25, delayed by about 8 minutes, leaving Port Coquitlam Station due to a switch issue at the Pitt River Bridge. A reminder that around BC Place, there will be road closures in effect starting at noon today and lasting until 12 a.m. And that will be in place again for the shows on Saturday and Sunday. And out of town, north of Revelstoke, Highway 1 in both directions will be affected 1 kilometer west of the west boundary of Glacier National Park, starting at 8 o'clock this morning and lasting until noon. You can expect road closures on the Trans-Canada Highway there of lasting up to 20 minutes. You can text us 236-330-2623 if you see anything. And that's just about it. Back to you in Studio 700.
Karis, thank you so much. This is our annual Food Bank Day, and very glad to be with you. Make the Season Kind is what we're calling it here, and that's the new name for an event that's been going on for the past 38 years now, and it really is a special day. We're raising money for food banks right across BC. There are now 110 food banks across the province. If you make a donation, you can earmark the community, your own community, and that's where the money will stay. And joining us right now is Chief Wayne Sparrow with the Musqueam Indian Band. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you so much for being here so early.
Yeah, it was an early morning, but when you told me I had to come down to the studio, I had to get up a little earlier, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny, today we had all the people who don't normally work the same hours as Amy and I walk in at the same time as we did.
They looked tired.
They looked tired, didn't they? We're asking people this morning, Chief, about, just what the idea of kindness means to them. From where you sit, what does it mean to you?
Well, in our culture, from Musqueam, it means everything, to try to bring everybody together. Food's a healing source in our culture and our teaching. So, the more kind you can be and support each other, the more successful you'll be and a better life.
I understand one of your big inspirations in your own life was your father-in-law, Chief Ernie Campbell. Tell me about the inspiration that he brought to you.
Well, all of our past chiefs, including Chief Campbell, inspired us about being self-efficient, looking after ourselves, and helping where we can. So it was a vision of our past leaders at Contact. So, I think each leader in our community has carried that vision forward of right from Contact to where we are today. So, our hats are off to all of our past leaders who aren't with us today.
This is an exciting time for, the three local Indian, First Nations that we talk about, the Squamish Indian Band, of course, the Musqueam and Tsleil-Waututh Band, and some of the development opportunities that you are seeing, some of the enterprises that you have become involved in.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. We put our differences aside, and we had overlap issues. We said we would put it aside for the betterment of all three of our communities to do such things that you're doing this morning of services we can bring to our community and our in all three communities. So it's been very successful, and we have some hiccups, but we're still moving forward.
And for your own community, for the Musqueam Indian Band, is there anything special that happens for Christmas as a band, as a group?
Oh yeah, we do a bunch of things. Like we have our children's Christmas party this weekend. We had an elders luncheon the other day, and we have a lot of community events that we bring our community together, and naturally food's part of it.
It's always part of it.
As you can tell.
It's so great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate the time, and thanks for everything you do. Great to see you. Thank you very much. Chief Wayne Sparrow of the Musqueam Indian Band. And all morning we are talking about making the season kind. Oh my goodness, you're all sequined. Oh, you're not sequined. You're very sparkly.
She's sequined.
Very sparkly.
Sparkly sequins, yes.
All right, now.
The memo. Yeah.
I didn't get the memo.
Planned, very holiday-ish.
Have you seen our producer, Julia?
No.
She's like, she looks completely sequined head to toe.
Oh,
yeah, it's good.
Yes,
Is she going
gorgeous.
to Taylor Swift later?
I don't know. No, she's not going to Taylor Swift later, not as far as I know, unless she scored tickets. Apparently there was another ticket drop last night.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. I might cry.
I heard that from somebody, that there was another ticket drop last night. This is all about making the season kind, and joining us now is somebody who sees a lot of unkind behavior, I would suggest, from companies, from governments, from all kinds of organizations. Erica Johnson is the host of the investigative news segment Go Public, and she has seen it all. She's a regular guest on our program. Hello.
Good morning, Stephen.
Very nice to see you. You hear from people who feel like they have been wronged or who want answers. Your job is really to be, not kind when you have to talk to some of those people.
Yeah, kind of the opposite. I mean, we do send a lot of questions that people don't want to necessarily answer when we're writing to corporations or government sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, not that we're unkind, but pointed questions often don't put people in the best mood. We also
Don't I know it?
We also hear a lot from unhappy consumers, of course, people who are fighting with their banks or with the telecoms or these days with the airlines. And, they're frustrated. They sometimes are unkind to the people they're interacting with. And then we get emails from the frontline workers of those industries. I was speaking recently to someone who is an agent at the airport for one of the big airlines, and she said, people take out their hostilities with them, very unkind, and you get it. The flight's been delayed or it's been canceled. You've been standing around. Now you have to pay for your carry-on baggage. People are not thrilled. And so, the message is frontline workers are also human beings. That's not where you take out your frustrations and your aggressions. Understandably, people are frustrated, but there are proper channels. Send an email, write to the regulator if it's a banking issue or a telecom issue. Just do it the way, I think you get a lot more bang for your buck if you do that, and just bear in mind that people are struggling too.
Or call Go Public.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, email us at gopublic@cbc.ca.
Yes, I'm going to get that in. Erica Johnson, thank you so much. Great to see you.
And of course, there is so much going on today. Certainly, there's a little something for everyone. No need to cry if you didn't get your Taylor Swift tickets. One of the big events tonight is Cirque du Soleil's show, Echo. It debuted back in October, and it runs until January 5th. And joining us today is Kevin Albert. He is the senior publicist with Cirque du Soleil's Echo. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here today.
So there's so much going on in the city today. Tell us more about Cirque du Soleil's latest show, Echo.
Absolutely. So Cirque du Soleil Echo is our latest big top show. We premiered last year in Montreal, and we're here in Vancouver for another month. So come and see us. And the story of the show is all about collaboration and intention, and really the bond between the human and the animal kingdom. And the story starts with Future, our main protagonist, and she goes on this journey with a dog. And as they come on the stage, there's a cube, and they start realizing that the cube represents the planet, and that every action we take has a consequence on the planet.
Sounds amazing. And aside from the acrobatics, Cirque du Soleil is interested in community and social responsibility. What does that mean to you?
So our main program that we have at Cirque du Soleil is called Cirque du Monde. So it's a partnership that we have with multiple circuses around the planet, where we use the art of circus to do some social work with some kids at risk. So we've been doing that for the past 25 years, and we have a great collaboration with a whole bunch of different circuses around the world. But when we come into each of the communities, we have some artist and crew-led initiatives. So we try to have an impact as much as we can in every city where we go. So here in Vancouver, we're going to do two actions, actually. So the first one is we're going to spend a whole day at the Dugout, which is a restaurant here that offers meals for the homeless people. And then we're going to do HLSS as well for some First Nation women and kids that we're going to try to help as well while we're here.
That sounds wonderful. Albert, thank you so much. Or Kevin Albert, thank you so much for coming in. You are the senior publicist, of course, with Cirque du Soleil's Echo. And Echo is running until January 5th, and you can still get tickets for that. You can make a donation for us here online at cbc.ca/kind/BC. There's a drop-down menu on the site. You can direct it to any food bank. That's cbc.ca/kind/BC, or donate by phone. Call us now, 604-662-6470 or 1-866-226-4642. You can also text us. Text KIND to 20222.
Karis Hogg is standing by with a look at the roads.
In Surrey, on the Patello Bridge, the stalled car northbound at the south end has been cleared. However, in Surrey, there's a stalled semi Highway 10 westbound at 144th Street. And on the text line, I'm getting multiple texts. There is a sunrise alert right now in Metro Vancouver. It might be Salmon Delight. Back to you in Studio 700.
Studio 700, but we'll see pictures of it, I'm sure. Lots to come on this program after the news. Longtime Canucks fans will want to stick around. Don't forget to donate during the break. cbc.ca/kindbc, cbc.ca/kindbc. We are back after the local news.
In Kelowna, it is cloudy and -1 degree. In Prince Rupert, it is raining and 8 degrees, and it's cloudy and 6 degrees in Vancouver. I'm Taranjeet Parmar. The weekend Swifties in BC have been waiting for is finally here. Tens of thousands of fans will descend on BC Place for Taylor Swift's final 3 shows of her Eras tour starting tonight. Michelle Morton has more.
Taylor Swift fan Elle Weiss has already been to 14 Eras shows and will be going to BC Place for all 3 this weekend.
I can relate to her, like heartbreak or frustration with the working world and, not being recognized as much as a man would be, or just there's lots of themes that she writes about that we all can that resonate with fans.
Though there's excitement, there's also some apprehension. The tour comes to Vancouver just days after a series of violent incidents downtown that left one suspect fatally shot by police. Vancouver police spokesperson Steve Addison says around 700 officers will be deployed this weekend.
You're going to see officers on horseback, motorcycles, bicycles, on foot, and we're there to keep people safe.
We're there to provide a sense of comfort and safety to people. We're there to deter crime.
Meanwhile, TransLink says it's extending some service and adding additional buses up until Sunday night after the last Eras show. Michelle Morton, CBC News, Vancouver.
The latest violent random attack in downtown Vancouver has put the spotlight on the province's plan to use involuntary care for those with addiction and mental health issues. As Katie DeRosa reports, Vancouver's mayor says he is frustrated by the lack of urgency.
There's a lot of anger, actually.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim is demanding action from higher levels of government after another violent attack in his city. The assault outside a 7-Eleven Wednesday left 2 people injured. The attacker was shot and killed by police.
But the anger comes in the sense that we already knew that incidents like this would happen again if senior levels of government didn't step up.
The NDP government plans to roll out a program of involuntary care for people with mental health and addiction issues. That will happen at 2 secure facilities, Surrey Pretrial Centre and the Alouette Correctional Centre in Maple Ridge. Sims says that isn't happening fast enough. Premier David Eby says he understands the frustration.
It's a horrible attack, and it's really corrosive to people's sense of safety and communities.
Eby says those secure beds will be open by the spring, after which the model will be expanded across the province. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
Food prices could jump by up to 5% next year. That is according to Canada's Food Price Report for 2025. The report estimates that a family of 4 in British Columbia could be paying up to $800 more on food next year if food inflation hits the highest point. Researchers say grocery prices are also expected to rise between 3 to 5%, and that has some shoppers worried about stretching out their budgets.
Everything's too expensive and rent's going up and it's not sustainable. I don't know how people can do it. I live on my own and I can barely deal with it. I can't imagine what a family has to deal with.
Don't know what we're gonna do. I have no idea what people are gonna do to try and live and pay rent and eat. It's a lot of choices to have to compromise.
Meat, vegetables, and dining at restaurants are likely to see the biggest price jumps. And a new report from the BC Rent Bank shows some hope for renters. The Housing Ministry says the report is a positive sign for renters in BC, with lower prices reported and more rental homes under construction. Pinky Wong reports.
The rent is the most important problem issue in Canada, so it's something that nobody can afford.
Yaroslav Yelikin immigrated to Vancouver 2 years ago from Ukraine. He works downtown and pays $2,900 for a 2-bedroom with his mom and grandmother in Port Coquitlam. He says his family members pitch in, but he contributes 50% of his income. Annette Boone has been living in the West End for 7 years with her family.
I just don't see how people are supposed to be able to make a living here if they are spending all their money on rent.
The BC Rent Bank provides interest-free loans for low to moderate income renters with a repay period of up to 3 years. Melissa Giles is the managing director. She says the Rent Bank has seen the salary to rent ratio go down over the past few months, but there is still high demand.
We began our work in 2019, and that, we saw on average about 80 applications coming in a month. Right now, we're averaging 685 of those.
Giles says they supported more than 2,500 renters in BC last year. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Vancouver.
It is 7:35, and that is the CBC News.
Well, welcome back to this morning of special programming. We are live in Vancouver, broadcasting province-wide this morning on CBC Radio 1 until 8:30. I'm Stephen Quinn. This is the early edition along with Amy Bell, and we've got a whole lot of great guests and music coming up in this half hour of the program, including the legendary Canucks goalie Kirk McLean is going to be with us this morning, and all of it in aid for local food banks right across the province of BC. We'll tell you all of the ways you can donate in just a second. First, though, we'll go to Karis and Traffic.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you. Taking a look at the roads first before I get to ferries. In Surrey on the Patello Bridge, there was an earlier stalled car northbound at the south end. It has been cleared. There's still a little residual volume there. In Surrey, there's a stalled semi on Highway 10 westbound at 144th. That's in the right-hand lane. And it sounds like an earlier crash in Richmond, Westminster Highway as soon as you get off Highway 99 heading eastbound eastbound, and that's in the right-hand lane. And a reminder of road closures in downtown Vancouver, particularly around BC Place and Rogers Arena, Concord Pacific Place, that whole area. Those road closures in that area will last from noon today until 12 a.m., and then that'll be in place for tomorrow and Sunday as well because of the 3 nights of Tay in Vancouver. You can always text us if you see anything like a beautiful Salmon Delight sunrise. I'm getting so many of those texts right now. It is fantastic. 236-330-2623. And at the ferries, Tsawwassen, Swartz Bay, if you don't have a vehicle reservation, your next available sailing is 11 a.m. Swartz Bay, Tsawwassen, your next available sailing is 9 a.m. Weather for the North Coast today, rain ending near noon, then cloudy and a high of 9. Metro Vancouver weather today, mainly cloudy, slight chance of showers this afternoon, and a high of 9 degrees. Back to you in Studio 700.
Karis, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us for CBC's Make the Season Kind. This is our annual food bank fundraiser, 38th year of doing this. Last year, we raised more than, almost $2.5 million. This year, we're looking pretty good so far. We are at, drum roll please, $204,000.00.
Incredible.
Not a bad start at all
No,
for just
we're
after
just
7
starting.
in the morning. So there we go. Lots to come, though, and how to make your donations. First off, you can phone us. We've got a number of volunteers standing by in the phone room. 604-662-6470. 604-662-6470. 1-866 rather. That's 866-226-6470. And you can text us by texting KIND to 20222. 20222. Text the word KIND, and you'll get some options. And of course, our online donations, where so much of this has already come from, cbc.ca/kind. cbc.ca/kind. Now, Rick Cluff, of course, was a very big part of this program for a very long time. He was the host of the early edition. I had the great privilege of taking over from him a few years ago. Sadly, we lost Rick this year. He passed away in July of this year, and we did want to pay some tribute to him on this program. Even before I worked at CBC, I would listen to Rick on the Food Bank Day program. And Amy Bell, of course, we all loved Rick. We were all knew Rick well. Amy, though, was particularly close to Rick after all of those years of working alongside him. And also here on stage with us, we have Steve Maddock. He's a singer and a longtime soloist with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Stephen.
We appreciate it. Amy, for you, I mean, what is it like to do a food bank without Rick Cluff here?
It's part sad, but also partly an honor to sort of carry on his tradition. He loved this day so much. He loved Christmas more than anybody I know. And this, he always said this kicked off the Christmas season for him, and I share that sentiment. So I kind of feel like, this is where we hosted it. This is where he was for so many years doing this special show. So I feel like he's here with us in a way.
I remember when we used to do the show from Studio 30 upstairs or whatever it was. Didn't you guys one time cram all of Corleone into that studio?
I was not here for that, but I did tell tales of the time they shoved an entire choir into that very tiny studio.
I heard that on the radio, and it was quite something. And Rick, of course, I mean, just one of the kindest people I know. He was such a mentor to so many people. He was always in a good mood, always so generous. I mean, he never said it out loud, but did it ever? What you told us a little bit about what this day meant to him, but just the kindness that comes with this day.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the kindness was just innate with Rick. He was kind to everyone, no matter who they were. He wanted people to feel special. He wanted people to feel supported, and that we saw that in work, but we saw that just with his everyday interactions. He lifted everybody up and expected people to treat each other in that way. And so today, the Food Bank Day was always just a chance for him to sort of light that fire under other people and let them know how easy it was, that anything they could do to help out, it was the greatest help. And to me, that's kindness, is taking care of everyone you can.
And Steve, how did you come to know Rick?
I came to know Rick. It was the first time that Corleone came to do the food bank show. That was back in the days of Pacific Center in the atrium. And that was probably in the mid-90s. And Kenny and I were both there. And we sang this song written by the late, great Corlin Haney called Christmas Angel. And Rick loved that song so much that he brought us back probably for about 5 or 6 years in a row. And he wanted to hear that song every year. And he told me more than a few times that that became his favorite Christmas song.
And I have sung along to it in the car many, many times
We
over
all
many,
have.
many years. You're going to perform it for us now?
We sure are.
Please, we'll leave the stage to you. Thank you, Steve.
How I wish I could sing like an angel. I'd sing carols so high and sweet. Oh, if I had the voice of an angel, I'd be singing that sweet child asleep. Oh, how I wish I had the wings of an angel, shining with glory bright. Oh, if I had the wings of an angel, I'd be rocking that sweet child at night. Christmas angel, so long ago, you saw the Christ child in the stars glow. You sang to Jesus on his bed of hay on that first Christmas day. Oh, how I wish I could sing like an angel. I'd sing carols so high and sweet. Oh, if I had the voice of an angel, I'd be singing that sweet child asleep. I'd be singing that sweet child asleep.
Singing Christmas Angel, a Christmas favorite of our very own Rick Cluff. Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So beautiful. That was a favorite song of our very own Rick Cluff. And Rick, of course, longtime host of the early edition. Sadly, we lost him in July.
Yes. We are broadcasting throughout the province this morning, and the host of Daybreak South, CBC Kelowna's morning show, Chris Walker, joins us on the line now. Chris, good morning. Oh, I'm having a little trouble hearing Chris.
Good morning.
There we
There
are.
he is.
Hey.
Hey, happy Make the Season Kind Day. So we've been talking about food insecurity across BC. How has the cost of living in Kelowna impacted food insecurity in the last few years?
Well, like everywhere else, the cost of living is going up, up, up. We heard it on the news. You hear it every day here, especially around housing. People in Kelowna joke about the sunshine tax, right? The idea that you're paid less here in the Okanagan
Right.
for the same job that you might be paid in Vancouver because it's such a wonderful place to live. There's all that sun in the summertime, all that great skiing in the wintertime. But because it's so attractive, it's always one of the fastest growing places, not much affordable housing. And, it's a breadbasket in BC, but local food, most of it is exported. Most of it leaves the valley, like 80% of it or more. And so local food's expensive, and the challenges of food insecurity are the same here as they are anywhere else in the province.
Oh, I was going to ask what kind of demands you are seeing for food banks in Kelowna right now, especially in the last several months.
Yeah, well, overall, about 5% of people in Kelowna rely on the food bank. But Food Bank Executive Director Trevor Moss here told me yesterday that demand is up 30% year over year. They say driven almost entirely by inflation. This is what their clients tell them. And they're seeing a lot more working families. They say a full 44% of their clientele are kids and teenagers.
Wow. Quickly, before I let you go, Chris, what does kindness mean to you, and how do you incorporate it into your life?
Well, you know, through the week here on our program, we've been collecting stories of local kindness.
Yeah.
And I have to mention Landon and Amy Bradshaw here. They lost their 11-year-old daughter to cancer just a month ago, but amidst all that, they reached out to us, invited me into their home because they wanted to tell me the story of the kindness of their neighbors and their community. And Landon, the father, just says, you know, despite everything, he's listened to this show year after year after year, and he considers himself lucky despite their grief, and they wanted to connect and lift others up who are less fortunate. And I thought, well, if they can do it, can't we all?
Oh, that's just incredible. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Have a great show.
That's Chris Walker, the host of Daybreak South, CBC Kelowna's morning show. And you can make a donation here by phone, 604-662-6470. Across the province, toll free, 1-866-226-4642. You can also text KIND to 20222. Once again, that's 604-662-6470, 1-866-226-4642, or text KIND to 2022. We'll get another look at traffic now with Karis Hogg.
In Surrey, a stalled Highway 10 westbound at 144th Street in the right lane, and out of Metro Vancouver, north of Revelstoke on Highway 1. Both directions will be affected by some road work 1 kilometer west of the west boundary of Glacier National Park. Starting at 8 o'clock this morning, there could be road closures lasting up to 20 minutes. You can always text us if you see anything, 236-330-2623. Back to you in Studio 700.
Thank you, Karis. And we have got a live audience with us in Studio 700 because we've also got a live band performing with us this morning. Ayla Tesler-Mabe is with us. Ayla Tesler-Mabe is and her next song is called Endless Summer.
Purple lights and endless summer. in the summer. Another life we still find each other. Oh, in the summer.
Band. Thanks, Sailor. That was an original song called Endless Summer. There is a lot going on in downtown Vancouver today and tonight as well. You may have noticed, of course, alongside Make the Season Kind, which is really the major event in the city taking place this weekend. Taylor Swift is here. Cirque du Soleil, we just heard, is here. The Vancouver Canucks are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight at Rogers Arena. Yeah, big round of applause for the Canucks. Come on. Joining us now, the legendary Canucks goaltender Kirk McLean is with us. Captain Kirk, as he was known back in the day. Did you ever get sick of that?
Never get sick of it. No.
Never get sick of that. He's with us on stage this morning. Kirk McLean, everybody. First off, when I think of the Canucks, you think of the Canucks Autism Network. For hockey, you think of Canuck Place. There are so many philanthropic and charitable things that the Vancouver Canucks do. How big a part of being the team is that, or being on the team is that?
Well, it's a huge part. Ever since I got traded here in 1987, way back in 1987, it was always instilled into us by Pat Quinn, who had just come back to the team as well. So it's a natural thing, not just for myself personally, or the players personally, or the staff, or whatever part of the organization you are. It's the least we can do is to give back and give back to the community and help out in different ways that we can to raise money for different events.
We think of hockey, of course. I mean, it's a very tough sport, very hard-hitting contact sport. But it does seem to me that through the league and through individual teams, you're seeing a lot more examples of players reaching out, of the kind of, at least the image of it softening a little bit. Am I right?
Agreed. I disagree with the body contact. I think it's a little softer now on the body contact. But having said that, yes, you're right. The players are fantastic. Just yesterday, there was a few of us alumni, but one of the main players and a few other wives. We were just at Canuck Place icing gingerbread people, we call them now, yeah. And, stuff like that. A couple of weeks ago, we were doing pumpkin carving at the Canuck Place. You talked about Canuck Autism. We did, last week, we did our Canuck Autism hockey tournament, which is a 3-day event. Yeah. Last Friday, we did Hockey Helps the Homeless. So we're always doing something, and it's a great feeling. It puts smiles on everybody else's faces, but it also puts smiles on our faces because we enjoy being there. We enjoy shaking hands, rubbing shoulders, telling stories to the people that are serious fundraisers, and makes it very worthwhile, like I said, for the charities.
Kirk, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. No problem. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Former Canucks goaltender Kirk McLean with us. And yeah, the Canucks are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight, next to that other thing that's going on downtown tonight. And you can make a donation. Our online donation site, cbc.ca/kindbc, cbc.ca/kindbc. There's a drop-down menu there. You can choose exactly where you would like to direct your money. You can phone us as well. Our phone bank is standing by, 604-662-6470, and you can call toll-free province-wide 1-866-226-4642. And now, time for some more music. This is another original song from our live performer. This is Ayla Tesler-Mabe.
Spend more time dreaming than I do breathing. I know that's a Pisces trait, but I feel better in the warm weather, even if it's in my head. Someone look my way, I think about it for days, but oh look, it's 12 past 10. Guess I gotta go.
That's Ayla Tesla Mabe and a song called Am I? The numbers to call, by the way, 1-866-226-4642 if you're calling anywhere in the province of BC. We're broadcasting province-wide today in the Lower Mainland, 604-662-6470. We have a new total, Amy.
We do, $256,000. Incredible. Keep that number coming, though. We want to see more and more. Every dollar, every cent counts to helping people.
Keep those donations coming. You can do that at our online site as well, cbc.ca/kind. cbc.ca/kind. I'm Stephen Quinn along with Amy Bell. This is our special Make the Season Kind broadcast. We're back in a couple of minutes after the news.
This is World Report. Good morning. I'm Stephanie Skandaris. Statistics Canada has just released its latest jobs report. It shows Canada's unemployment rate jumped to 6.8% in November. That's up from 6.5% the month before. While the economy grew by more than 50,000 jobs, more people were looking for work. CBC's senior business correspondent Peter Armstrong explains what the numbers mean.
The unemployment rate tells the whole story here. Outside of COVID, this is the highest unemployment rate we've seen in nearly 8 years. If you go back to April of 2023, the rate is up 1.7 percentage points in that period alone. So these statistics simply wash out what would have otherwise been a pretty good set of gains. 51,000 jobs, mostly full-time, across a broad swath of categories. Total hours worked were up. Wages climbed as well, though wage gains are slowing, which is something experts wanted to see as inflation has cooled as well. But overall, this paints the picture of an economy that's struggling and one that probably needs a boost to get out of the ditch. The Bank of Canada was waiting for these numbers to decide what it will do about interest rates. It meets again next week. And the question going into that was whether the Bank of Canada would cut rates by 25 basis points or 50. A lot of people will be looking at that unemployment rate today with a sense of where the Bank of Canada will be focused next week. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Today is the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. It's in honor of the victims of the Montreal Polytechnique massacre. It was 35 years ago today when 14 women were murdered in a targeted attack. Now there is growing concern about the surge in a different kind of gender-based violence taking place online. Kwabina Oduro reports.
Her predator targeted girls, young girls, minors, and he's not the only one in the world. He was just one of the few that got caught and charged.
Carol Todd speaks from BC as an advocate for the prevention of cyber violence. Her daughter Amanda was targeted and exploited online by a stranger.
Amanda was 15, And it was October 10th of 2012 that she died by suicide.
The issue of cyber violence is on the rise according to the Fédération des Femmes de Québec. It says women account for up to 80% of criminal online harassment victims in Canada. Project coordinator Marina Mathieu says doxing is a common tactic.
Which means using your confidential information to call you or contact you directly, for example, to tell you, I know your address, I know where you are.
The organization is sparking the conversation now, 35 years after a gunman targeted women on the campus of Montreal's Polytechnique, leaving 14 dead and 10 injured.
Men have a hard time dealing with their hard feelings. They try to use aggressiveness to deal with the problem.
Psychotherapist Victor Hugo de Souza says some of the online violence comes from social media chats and podcasts that cater to men who feel frustrated.
If we want to reduce the aggressiveness in the behavior of a man, he has to understand what he's doing, why he's doing this.
De Souza and other experts say there needs to be more oversight regulations to deal with cyber violence. Cubino Duro, CBC News, Montreal.
Romania's top court has annulled the results of the first round of voting in the country's presidential election. The bombshell decision comes just 2 days before a runoff vote was due to take place. Dominic Velitis has the details.
Voting is already underway in polling stations abroad, but now everything is put on hold. Documents declassified by Romania's top security council this week claim the country had been the target of aggressive hybrid Russian attacks during the election period. Pro-Moscow populist Călin Georgescu, who wants to end Romanian support for Ukraine, polled in single digits before voting, but went on to take 23% of the vote. Sunday's round would have pitted Georgescu against the pro-EU centrist leader Elena Lasconi. Lasconi condemned the court's decision, saying it undermined the will of the Romanian people. She insists she would have won the election if it was held as planned. Dominic Velitis for CBC News, Riga, Latvia.
In Syria, people cheer and fire their guns toward the sky as a statue of President Bashar al-Assad's father is toppled in Hama. Rebel forces took control of that city yesterday. Now they are pushing their way towards Homs. Video posted online shows an airstrike destroying a bridge on the main route to Homs. A Syrian army officer told Reuters Russia carried out the bombing to prevent the rebels from using the highway. Even so, Syria's war monitor says the rebels are just 5 kilometers away from Homs. Authorities in New Zealand have called off the search for 3 missing hikers, including 1 Canadian. The 3 men disappeared on Monday while hiking a rugged mountain range on the South Island. The area is known for its treacherous climbs and harsh weather. Vicky Walker is a commander with New Zealand Police.
We do not believe that the men have survived. We believe they have taken a fall. This is certainly not the news we wanted to share today.
The search began when the men did not show up at the rendezvous point. Crews found some of their footprints and items believed to belong to them. Their bodies have not been found. The identity of the Canadian is being withheld at the request of the family. Canada's federal court is experiencing what it says is a critical budgetary shortfall. Since last year, it has seen a nearly 50% increase in immigration case filings. And in some cities, it's unable to schedule all those hearings within the required 90 days. Justice Minister Arif Virani will discuss that problem with the 4 chief justices later today. Rafi Boudjikanian has more.
We didn't think it was going to be this hard.
Aldo Mendoza will not be going to see his family in Mexico over the holidays.
I can leave the country, but there's no guarantee I can come back.
Mendoza graduated last year from the University of Ottawa, but the immigration department refused him a postgraduate work permit. He's challenging that decision with the federal court, but has no idea when the tribunal will give him a date, grounding him here without status for now.
It's not just about my career. It's also about my mental health, my ability to build a life.
Federal court officials say there is a backlog of close to 500 immigration cases in Canada's 3 biggest cities. They're delayed by more than 3 months in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. And the court is on track for a total of 24,000 immigration cases this year, a 44% increase over last year, and quadruple the average number before the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's an issue of access.
Lisa Middlemiss is an immigration lawyer in Montreal.
The government needs to invest in justice for applicants.
The court's administration service warns of further cuts and says it needs an extra $35 million a year to overcome its budgetary shortfalls. The Justice Minister's office says it's looking forward to working with the 4 Chief Justices to find sustainable solutions and points out 96% of judicial positions across the country are now filled. Rafi Bujikani on CBC News, Ottawa.
Taylor Swift's Eras World Tour has spanned 5 continents, surpassed $1 billion in revenue, and after more than 150 concerts, it all wraps up this weekend with 3 shows in Vancouver. The first is tonight, and as Yvette Brand reports, the city is trying to ease safety concerns.
The whole world basically knows about the Eras Tour.
Gianna and Olivia Gill have been waiting for this for years.
It's like a Super Bowl, basically.
This tour has spanned continents and attracts generations. It also brings in big coin. These Kelowna Swifties lined up at 4 a.m. to get merch, driving hours to Vancouver, despite having no tickets to the show.
I love Taylor Swift so much. So, yeah, I was very excited just to, be in Vancouver, too, and, feel the energy of everyone.
Energy undaunted by news Wednesday of a violent stabbing at a 7-Eleven that ended with police shooting a suspect not far from the stadium.
It's devastating. There's a lot of anger, actually.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims says extra security will keep the area safe for thousands coming.
For one person to come to the city and to bring in some $150 million is pretty remarkable.
UBC economist Jarrett Vaughn says if Vancouver can successfully host 160,000 Swifties, it will help dispel the city's reputation as being no fun.
We don't see things like this. We may never see something like this again.
A special data network has been installed around the stadium, and extra Sky trains and BC ferries are scheduled.
We're going to try and get tickets by standing outside. We don't have tickets, so.
For those who can't afford or couldn't get a ticket, there will be a guaranteed free glitter parade. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Vancouver.
And that is the latest national and international news from World Report. I'm Stephanie Skandaris. This is CBC News.
I'm going out tonight.
Well, welcome back to the final stretch of our special province-wide show today. I'm Stephen Quinn in CBC Studio 700 along with Amy Bell. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, Stephen Quinn. It's been quite a morning so far.
It has been quite a morning so far. This is Make the Season Kind, which is what we're now calling our annual CBC Food Bank fundraiser, raising money for the 110 food banks right across the province. We will tell you exactly how you can make your donation in just a moment. We have got some great music. We've got some great guests. Somebody who knows just a little bit about giving, Michael O'Dane, is going to join us on stage in just a moment. And you may have heard of this guy, David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia,
yes.
is here as well.
Yes.
And wrapping things up a little later on, Kendall Gender, BC's Queen of Drag from Drag Race Canada.
Yeah.
Canada's Drag Race.
That
yes.
is correct.
We'll be here in just a moment. All of that and much more coming your way. Right now, Karis Hogg is here with your traffic.
In Surrey, a stalled semi on Highway 10 westbound at 144th Street in the right-hand lane. And a reminder, around BC Place and Rogers Arena, that whole area, there are road closures starting at noon today and lasting until 12 a.m. And those will be in place on Saturday and Sunday as well for all 3 of Taylor Swift's shows. Out of Metro Vancouver, Cody in Trail texted in the Kootenay Lake Ferry in both directions being affected by an ongoing strike. So there's a modified schedule between Balfour and Kootenay Bay. You can always text us at 236-330-2623 if you see anything. Weather for the Peace region, a mix of sun and cloud, a high of 6 degrees. And for Metro Vancouver today, mainly cloudy, a slight chance of showers this afternoon, and a high of 9. And on the text line, Dee Dee texted, I think we should name exit 13 off the highway from Taylor Way to Taylor Swift Way while she's in town. Very nice idea, Dee Dee. Back to you in Studio 700.
Out already,
Yeah,
made up a
really.
sign or something to do that. That makes
Somebody
total
get on
sense.
that, okay? We can get that
Yeah.
wrapped up for the weekend.
Although it's probably against the law, so we're not counseling you to do that at all.
We
to,
would never do
to
anything
alter
like
an
that.
official traffic sign. Don't do that. The
That's
premier's standing right
It's
here.
actually a really poor idea, and
Yeah,
I
terrible,
would be
terrible idea.
disappointed. Very disappointed in you. We'll get a look at our numbers right now. We have $287,000 in donations so far, and it's only 8 a.m. But we can do more. I know we can. Every
We can
dollar
do much
helps.
more.
You can call us at 604-662-6470, 1-866-226-4642. And we'll make it easy. You can text us. Text KIND to 20222. And of course, CBC's annual food bank fundraiser. Let me try that again.
Food bank fundraiser.
That's how you say it or sing it.
I know.
But yes, thank you all so much for your generosity in our 38th year. Our next guest joins us for the second year in a row. Welcome to Premier David Eby.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Nice to see everybody.
He's an elected premier this year, though.
He sure is.
Yeah.
And the late John Horgan was, of course, a big supporter of his local food bank in Coldstream.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, John grew up in a single-parent family, and it was really important to him that kids were supported and families who were struggling were supported. And so that probably led to his strong desire to support his local food bank as well as food security across the province.
And what do you make of the sort of the growing need for food banks we're seeing grow quite quickly across the province?
Yeah, families across the province and not just here in BC, across North America are struggling with the cost of food. We've seen grocery prices go up about 20%, and that combined with high interest rates is hurting a lot of people right now. And so we're seeing demand increase for food banks here in BC across Canada. We've made sure to provide additional support so that food banks can grapple with that, as well as try to get at the underlying cause, supporting people with additional training and opportunities, childcare, so that they can earn a little bit more money and be able to grapple with these higher costs. We have the fastest growing wages, but it only matters if people can access those jobs.
And of course, this is all about being kind today. What does kindness mean to you, Premier?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in politics, we know all about being kind. So I'm glad you come to an expert on the topic. Yeah, it really is a season, and I know a lot of people are feeling strain out there, and the nights are longer, and all the other things. It's good to have that seasonal reminder to be kind and gentle to each other, and know that other people are struggling in different ways. When someone cuts you off in traffic, or someone bumps into you on the sidewalk, it's making that extra effort to be kind right now is so important here in our province and all over the place.
Oh, well, we thank you so much for coming in. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And best of the season to you and your family.
And congratulations and thank you to the CBC for doing this work. You know, it takes everybody pitching in together to make sure our province is strong, and you're helping bring people together today, and it means a lot.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Maybe, thank you.
BC's Premier David Eby.
Those numbers, once again, in the Lower Mainland, 604-662-6470, 604-662-6470. If you're calling toll-free from anywhere in British Columbia, 1-866-226-4642. 1-866-226-4642. You can also donate online, cbc.ca/kindbc. It's really easy to do. And you can also just text the word kind on your cell phone to 20222.
Very easy. We'll get another lovely tune from our band. Here's Ayla Tester Mobby with a cover of Bold as Love by the legendary Jimi Hendrix.
Anger, he smiles, tower name, shiny metallic purple armor, cruel jealousy and few waits behind him. A fiery green gown sneers at the grassy ground. Through all the life-changing waters taken for granted, but quietly understand. Once happy turquoise armies stay opposite ready, but wonder why the fight is on. But the bold is love. torches, trophies of war, ribbons of euphoria. Orange is young, full of daring, but very unsteady for the first go round. My yellow in this case is not so mellow. In tract, I'm trying to say it's fighting like me. And all of these emotions of mine keeps holding me back from loving a rainbow like you. And the world born is love. And the world born is love. Yeah, the born is love. Just as the axis, he knows everything. Yeah, yeah.
Incredible. That was Ayla Tesler
Yeah.
Mambi with
Wow.
a cover of Bold as Love by the legendary Jimi Hendrix, of course.
Thanks, Amy. Well, you have probably heard our next guest's name around town. Michael O'Dane is a local philanthropist and the chairperson of the Polygon Homes, and he's with us on stage this morning. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here. First off, just tell us why it's important for you to be here today. We do appreciate it, by the way.
Well, I'm a regular listener to CBC, and I heard that you're doing this program to support the food banks, and I can't think of a better Christmas-oriented program. So congratulations for what you're achieving.
Well, thank you very much. We've done it 38 years now, I guess. This is our 38th year. You are well known, of course, for your charitable endeavors, but also for your art collection, the O'Dane Gallery in Whistler, the Polygon. Where did this start for you?
Well, I grew up in a home without art in Victoria, and somehow I got hooked on art at a very early age at the Royal BC Museum, and it was the art of the people of the Northwest Coast that attracted me at that time, and I've been interested in it ever since.
I'm embarrassed to say this, just a little while ago, I was finally at the O'Dane Museum in Whistler for the very first time. It is spectacular. What were you trying to achieve there?
Well, my wife and I had put together a considerable art collection, but we wanted to share it with the public. It's not much fun just looking at art by yourself. So, but we had a parking problem in West Vancouver, so I thought we should better go and build a museum somewhere, and that's what we did.
It's so great to have you with us today and to meet you up here on stage. Thank you for being with us, and best of the season to you.
Not at all, and good luck to you all. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. That is philanthropist and business person Michael O'Dane, raising money for the food banks of BC today. You can make a donation at our online donation site, cbc.ca, Kind BC, cbc.ca, Kind BC. Our number is 1-866-226-4642. That's our toll-free province-wide number, 1-866-226-4642. Locally in the Lower Mainland, 604-662-6470.
And of course, our live band has been absolutely amazing this morning. This is our last song with them. It is another Ayla original, and it's called Give Me a Sign.
Ayla original for you. Give Me a Sign was the name of that sign. Now, looking at our total board here, we've got a new total for you. This is a pretty good one so far.
It is.
Not
Juicy.
too bad for this time of the morning. $339,000 and 56 cents.
Hey, we did it.
56 cents. I'm so glad.
See, every penny does count.
I know. I thought I would. While we're during the break, I made a quick donation and I made 99 cents
Oh,
on
it
it.
was you.
Just but it hasn't shown up yet.
Okay,
So
we'll
I don't
get
know what
there.
to tell you. We will.
But keep those donations coming in. And of course, our next guest is Canadian drag royalty. She won Vancouver's Next Drag Superstar competition in 2017. She was a contestant on Canada's Drag Race and went on to compete on a show called Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World. She is performing in a Taylor Swift themed drag show on December 13th, which is also Taylor's birthday. If you didn't know already, we are talking about Kendall Gender. Hello, Kendall. Thanks for coming in.
Hello, everybody. How we doing this morning?
And you got up early and are looking absolutely stunning as usual. Last year, yes, we know you were in your Beyonce era. And then this year, it's Taylor Swift. Tell us about the show coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I did get up at a casual 4:45 a.m. today, but I did it just for all of you. Yes, obviously Vancouver is in their era, if you will. So yeah, I am doing a couple of Taylor Swift drag shows this weekend. Obviously, the whole city is being taken over by Taylor, and drag queens are no exception to that. Obviously, so we're doing a show on Sunday night at Celebrities, and then I'm doing a show on December 13th, her birthday, to celebrate that, which is really fun.
Now, describe your outfit for us today.
So this
is
is
very obviously Taylor-esque.
Yes, it is. It's my recreation as a 34-year-old man doing my best Taylor Swift impersonation this morning. But I also believe that this is a motto for a lot of us.
It says
right?
a lot going on at the moment.
Honey, ain't that the truth?
Amen. Yes, it is. Now, why was it important for you to join us today? And we appreciate you getting up so early to beautify the whole room and yourself.
My goodness, I'll leave a little sparkle behind after. Yeah, I've done this quite a few years in a row now, and it's always been very important for me. I think that, especially within the queer community, drag queens are kind of at the forefront of a lot of, raising money and charity and that kind of stuff. And I really believe that, the different people that we come up here, every single person is going to have some sort of relation to them, whether it's, a fabulous person from the Polygon or a drag queen that you might have seen on TV. Hopefully we can inspire you to, throw a little bit more than 56 cents at the money today. And that's kind of what we're doing. And I think it's very important to do so.
Oh, and we always love to have you here. Thank you so much, Kendall.
Thank you.
Kendall Gender will be performing tonight at, I've got it there, a Taylor Swift themed drag show on December 13th at the Bird House. We'll get a quick traffic now with Kara's Hogg.
Bye.
There are road closures starting at noon today around BC Place in downtown Vancouver, and they will last until 12 a.m. And also north of Revelstoke, out of Metro Vancouver, there's construction work. Highway 1, 20-minute delays west of Glacier National Park until noon today. And weather for Metro Vancouver, mainly cloudy, chance of showers this afternoon, high 9. And for the central interior, rain for most of the day and a high of 2 degrees. Back to you in Studio 700.
Karis, thank you so much. We are getting close to the end of this very special episode of the early edition. That does not mean that this is over. This is going to continue throughout the program, and we'll tell you all about that after the news. Right now, I will also tell you what our new total is. Our new total, $346,000.98.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. Keep it coming. The news is next.
In Kelowna, it is raining and -1 degree. In Prince Rupert, it's cloudy and 8 degrees, and it's cloudy and 6 degrees in Vancouver. I'm Taranjeet Parmar. It is a day that many Swifties in BC have been waiting for. Thousands of fans will head to BC Place tonight to see Taylor Swift kick off the first of her last 3 shows of the Eras Tour. Elle Weiss is from New York. She's already been to 14 Eras shows and will be going to all 3 shows in Vancouver this weekend.
Excited to celebrate with everyone. Sad that it's over,
But looking back at all the shows we've gone to and friends we've met and just wonderful people throughout the world that we've met.
Fans are being reminded to stay away from BC Place unless they have tickets. 700 Vancouver police officers will be deployed and will work to control crowds. Premier David Eby has responded to the latest violent attack in downtown Vancouver, which has put renewed attention on bail reform and involuntary care for people with mental health and addictions issues. The attack Wednesday morning at a 7-Eleven near Robson and Hamilton left 2 people injured and the attacker shot dead by police.
It's a horrible attack. It's really corrosive to people's sense of safety and communities, and not just in downtown Vancouver, but in other downtown cores. And, you can point to statistics and say, well, it's 50% fewer than it used to be. VPD has been doing a good job driving those numbers down. But man, one is devastating to people, and certainly for these young women who were attacked.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim criticized the province for being too slow to roll out its program on involuntary care. Eby says secure care beds in Mission and Surrey will be open in the spring. The federal government has announced new restrictions aimed at reducing gun violence. They're banning hundreds of makes and models of assault-style weapons. But here in British Columbia, some gun owners say that these new laws are unfair. Isaac Panay reports.
Firearms owners who follow the laws and are not a threat to public safety.
BC Wildlife Federation Executive Director Jesse Zeman says the regulations aren't fair to law-abiding gun owners, and he doesn't think they will stop gun violence. Zeman is instead calling for the government to prevent illegal guns from crossing the border. Federal Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc is adding 324 more gun makes and models to Canada's list of banned weapons. He says owners will have until October 30th next year to sell these guns to the government.
They'd like us to sell yoga mats and Lululemon. That's exactly what they want my gun store to turn into.
Tim Schramm is president and the owner of Corlane Sporting Goods. He says the new restrictions are unjustified and will hurt his business.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and they are coming at us with a lot of little cuts right now.
The federal government says it is investing in border security and implementing laws that make it easier to revoke licenses and take firearms away from people who break gun laws. Isaac Panay, CBC News, Vancouver.
A new report released by experts at 4 Canadian universities is predicting more pressure on grocery costs next year, and that means British Columbians will likely pay more for meat, vegetables, and when dining out. Janella Hamilton reports.
A family of 4 could be paying up to $800 more at the cash register next year if food inflation hits the highest point. That's according to Canada's Food Price Report for 2025. UBC professor Rick Barkello is one of the authors of the report. He says grocery prices are expected to rise between 3% and 5%, with staples like meat and vegetables seeing the biggest price jumps.
Climate change circumstances like droughts and all is going to affect the supplies available. And in addition, we've got all these geopolitical issues going on, whether it's the war in Ukraine or whether it's Trump proposing at least to put on high tariffs.
The report comes as food banks continue to see an uptick in demand. BC Food Bank says they're seeing more than 225,000 monthly visits, up 15% over 2023. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
And the BC Rent Bank's latest report is showing some hope for renters. They provide interest-free loans for low to moderate income renters in this province. The Housing Ministry says the report is a positive sign for renters in BC, with lower prices reported and more rental homes under construction. Melissa Giles is the managing director of the Rent Bank and says that they have supported more than 2,500 renters across British Columbia over the last year. It is just about 8:35, and that is the CBC News.
Tarnjeet Parmar in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Just about time to wrap things up here. One last look at traffic with Karis Hogg before we go. Or is that
There are no crashes or stalls reported right now, but in Metro Vancouver, just be aware that the Taylor Swift concerts are going to impact roads around BC Place for today until Sunday. The closures are lasting from noon until 12 a.m. daily. And a reminder that the Cambie Bridge is down to 1 lane in either direction due to construction. So that bridge is probably not a good one to choose. And weather for Metro Vancouver today, mainly cloudy, slight chance of showers this afternoon. afternoon and a high of 9. Back to you in Studio 700.
Thank you, Karis. And now this is not the end of Make the Season Kind. There is much more to come.
So much.
Michelle Elliott and Margaret Gallagher will be hosting a special version of BC Today in North by Northwest from noon until 3 outside on the plaza.
And we want to thank you all for your kind donations. You can keep them coming throughout the day. Thank you.
We're having a discussion because we're usually out a minute later. So are we still on the air? Got any tunes?
Who wants to sing a little ditty for Make the Season Kind?
I don't think we're still on the air. But if we are...
We are still on the air, apparently. What do you know?
I'd like to say thank you.
Huge thank you
to everybody who put this together today.